Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials or any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com.
Correct? There is a mechanism called as subnet mask. If you look at your computer, below every IP address, there is a subnet mask. Okay? This subnet mask tell my computer how many bits are masked. Mask means you cannot change it. It is masked, correct? And how many bits are changeable. So indirectly, with the help of subnet mask, you're telling your devices that which class of the IP address it belongs to, correct? And if it would be donated by the number called as 255. Now, in class A, the first number we cannot change it because that is our network ID, correct? So if you cannot change it, I will say 255. The rest of the numbers are changeable, so I will say those all are 0. So if I say class A do have the default subnet mask would be 255.0.0.0. This is the default subnet mask. If now you can see, sometime you will type the IP address, subnet mask would come up automatically. The reason behind it, the computer system or your operating system knows the calculation behind that particular scene, correct? So if I say class B, now how many bits are masked in class B? 16 bit. It's 255.255.0.0. So this is a default subnet mask for class B. Correct? This is the default subnet mask in class B. Correct? Because I know that these 16 bit are for network, these 16 bit are for host, which is changeable. Correct? And the last one would be 255.255.255.0. Now this subnet mask is for class A. So if I would like to create a network with a class A, I know that first 24 bit is for a network ID. I can create a network of that number. And only the last number I can change, and I will make sure that within that particular number, I can have only 256 computers. And if I would like to define the same mechanism to my computer, I should put this subnet mask to my computer. So my computer will understand this number is fixed. This is my network. And within this network, how many computers I have? This number would be 256. Correct? If I change any number from this, I'm the part of different network. I'm a complete different IP address system. I'm a complete different network. Right? Similarly, if I change anything over here, it would be a different network. If I keep this same and only change this part, that means I'm the same network. I'm only changing the host side. Correct? In class A, if I change this, the complete different network. which is very interesting, and this is a chapter which we will be covering in CCNA in depth. Okay, so routing and switching. This is very important techniques which you guys are learning in CCNA in depth, how this particular thing would be happening. But before you jump into actual practical knowledge about routing and switching in a deep dive, in CommShare N Plus, they will give you the idea what is exactly the routing and switching techniques are. This is just a basic overview they are giving you about routing and switching. In CCNA, we will be going to go for deep dive for this particular topic. Correct? Now, if you see switching and routing, these terms are actually coming with these two beautiful terms. Okay, the first term we need to understand is called as collision domain. Okay, now this collision domain would be considered a small network or a segment or group of machines together accessed over the media. Now this is the definition. Collision domain, you can simply say your local area connection, because this is a small network. Now, network means a small group of computers, small group of devices. Okay, so within that particular network, I will consider that entire network would be single collision domain. Correct? Now, within this collision domain, means within this local area connection, I would be able to access the data. Correct? I would be able to share the data within that collision domain. Correct? Then there is a concept called as microsegmentation. Now, microsegmentation is nothing but subnetting. I will give you the idea about the subnetting, then you will come to know what is the meaning of this. Now let's see. What is subnetting? Tomorrow we will see the calculation. But in order to understand microsegmentation, we should know subnetting. This is a subnetting is a microsegmentation. Let's say in Capgemini, Bangalore, okay, whatever offices which you have in the Bangalore, I said I do have only 20 or 25,000 devices I have within all Bangalore region and top.
Hey viewers, our Mastery in DevOps engineering program can help you to hone the skills necessary to succeed in high-level DevOps positions. So, what are you waiting for? Enroll now and earn certification that show you are keeping pace with today's technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
Correct? And all what I required the IP addressing to be given to all 25 devices. Correct? Now tell me which class of the IP address I should use. I should use class A. Am I audible right now? Can you hear me? Sorry about that. I believe that we got disconnected for a second and it takes time to reconnect. Okay. Okay, my question is very simple. I want to make sure that I should have 25,000 devices in my Capgemini Bangalore, and I want 25,000 IP addresses. What IP addresses or what class of the IP addresses we should use? Can you tell me? Which class should I use? My requirement is 25,000 IP addresses which I required. Anybody know which class should I use? Should I use class A? Should I use class B? Or should I use class A, C, class B? Okay, tell me which IP address category we should use, private or public? Private IP address or public IP address? What should I use? Anybody? Obviously, I should use the private IP addresses, because public IP addresses, I need to pay for every IP address, and 25,000 devices, it won't be possible. Obviously, so class B is the IP address. We know the range is 170 dot. Either I can use this network up to this, I can have 17, 18, 19, many networks I can use. So I decided I need to have, let's say I just want to use this network because my purpose would be served, because I do have 65,536 devices connected over it. Correct? And I just want 25,000. That's fine. The problem will happen over here. It is something like this. Can I create a single network of 25,000? I can create that because I have a complete network over here. No problem. And I can have 65,000 IP addresses which I can use. So my first choice is create a single network of 25,000 devices. Create a single network with 25,000 IP addresses. It is possible, yes, because I'm using a class B, I can do it. But here is the challenge. If I create this, technically it is possible, but the problem is, let's say I do have some management department in Capgemini, some IT department in Capgemini, some network department in Capgemini, some finance department in Capgemini, correct? HR department in Capgemini. I do have thousands of departments. And if I create a single network with 25 IP addresses, that means these all the computers which is belong to this department, they are under the single network, correct? Then the possibility is that you are able to hack the systems, or you are able to share the data with each other, and I don't want to do that. Then what is the option? You can say you can create different network for each department. So for one department I should use 172.16.0 this network. Another department I should start using 172.17 something dot. But here is the problem. I do have the free IP address up to 31. I can create a different network. If different networks are there, they won't be able to talk with each other. But imagine if I do have 200 departments, and every department I need to give a different network, and every department do have at least 300 400 machines. Even I cannot use class C as well, because where the networks are very high, but the number of hosts would be 256, not more than, it is more than our, it is very less than our requirement. Then what should I do? I need to make sure that every department should be get a separate network. They should be isolated. They should not be able to see what they are sharing, because there are many tools are actually available. With the help of that tool, I would be able to monitor what you are doing at network level. Correct? If I can use the single network for 25,000 IP address, technically it's possible. But the problem would be everyone would be compromising their security. This is a problem. Then there is a technique called as subnetting. They said you can divide this network into smaller chunks, and that process is called as segmentation. Correct? I know that I'm able to get only 2 raised to 16 is our network we are getting. But with the help of subnetting, what I'm supposed to do, whatever network I have selected, I can divide this network into smaller chunks, smaller network. And that process is called as subnetting, or you can say micro segmentation. Now, if I do that, whatever chunk of the IP address we are getting after subnetting, every chunk of that particular network would be isolated. So I do not want to waste the IP address. Within that particular network, I divided the network into the smaller network with the help of the technique called as subnetting. Now this entire small network, which would be considered as a collision domain, this small networks I am creating, it would be a collision domain. Correct? And the second term they said micro segmentation. Correct? The micro segmentation is process of dividing network by using switches, so only nodes exist in one collision domain. That means once I do have multiple department, every department I am going to segregate with the subnetting, as well as I am going to divide their network with a different switches as well. That particular process would be considered as microsegmentation. Correct? Don't get confused. If you understand subnetting properly, you will come to know that how I can divide this IP address into the smaller chunks. Okay, and how that chunks can allocate it department wise, and how I can create small network within my organization. Small networks are there, and those small network would be act like a small collision domains, that whatever happening, that would be happening in that particular network only. It should not come to other networks at all. This is the isolation. You are working in some team. Are you able to access all the financial details of Capgemini? Do you know what is the IP address of the finance department? What they are using? You don't know.
Hey viewers, trying to get into DevSecOps? Enroll for our DevSecOps certified professional programs and earn the certification that shows you are fit for these technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
If you try to understand with the help of your IP address, you can try to judge their IP address. It is not possible at all, because they are having different IP address scheme. Correct? So there is a technique called as subnetting who can help us to do that. Correct? And the third important thing is called as broadcast domain. Correct? This broadcast domain is nothing but your router or a boundary. Okay, I will consider now, this is mentioned, routers define the boundary. This is your broadcast domain. I will say these all smalls are my collision domain. Okay, this small, and this group, this entire group of the Capgemini is connected by some routers, correct? Now those routers is nothing but my boundary. For example, if I do have my router over here, now this router would be handling the complete group of collision domains over here. He will be handling the complete broadcasting happening over here. This would be my boundary. Whatever happening, it should be within this broadcast domain. So broadcast domain is nothing but the boundary of your complete group of collision domains together. Or you can say whatever segments they are talking about. Correct? So collision domain is nothing but logical bus, hub, connected, coaxial bus, switch port, connected node. There are multiple techniques are there. Correct? So currently, whatever logical domains which we are using, that is nothing but our switches. We are not using coaxial, we are not using hub, we are not using logical bus. We are using switch port and connected node. This is nothing but our collision domain. That is our switch network. What is a broadcast domain? Router network who is handling all the collision domain traffic, that would be considered as my broadcast domain. So remember that the next diagram will give you the idea. Okay, this is my collision domain, correct? Hub would be also considered as a collision domain, but we are not using it nowadays, but switch we are using it. Under the switch, whatever local LAN would be considered, that would be considered as a collision domain. So my switch would be handling all the collision domain. Now to handle all this collision domain, it is a responsibility of the router. So all the group of collision domain would be considered as one single broadcast domain. Now to be honest with you, these terms, collision domain and broadcast domain, it's very important when you're talking about exam perspective. In real life, they will not, nobody use these terms at all. They will see L2 network, L3 network. L3 network means still this router, correct? L2 network means this collision domain, correct? So this is something you need to understand when you're going for exam. But in day-to-day activity, broadcast domain means group of collision domain controlled by router. Router is my boundary, and whatever number of collision domain means small L2. I told you small networks would be there. It cannot be single broadcast domain. It would be small network would be there, correct? So this would be considered as a broadcast domain, correct? Now this is very interesting protocol. This is called as STP, spanning tree protocol. Okay, we will go deep dive into CCNA session, but I will give you the idea about this. What is a spanning tree protocol? Okay, let's say okay, let's consider I do have to switch. Okay, this is switch number 1 and this is a switch number 2. I'm talking about switch. Okay, I'm not talking about router. This is a switch 1, this is a switch 2, correct? Now let's say I connected the wire from this switch to this switch. Okay, and I will connect one more wire for redundancy. For example, if this wire gone bad or this physical port gone bad, I don't know. I will connect one more wire from this port to this port. Correct? Now look at the problem, what exactly the problem is. Okay, let's say this is a computer connected to the switch. This is again a computer. This is a computer. This is also a computer. Correct? Now what happened if this computer sends some broadcast traffic? I told you some broadcast traffic are by default. I said broadcast traffic. For example, ARP broadcast traffic would be sent to this particular switch. Now that is a broadcast traffic itself. It is already told to the switch, this traffic or whatever traffic which I'm sending you, you have to broadcast it by default. Correct? What will happen? Switch will broadcast that traffic to all the switch port. Ultimately, it will reach over here. Correct? It once again reach over here. Now that broadcast will go to this switch. Correct? Now he will also come to know that, okay, I need to broadcast this. Once again, I need to broadcast this. Once again, that broadcast will come below my switch. Correct? Once again, he said, oh, broadcast traffic is coming. I need to broadcast that traffic to everyone. Once again, it will be going. What is happening right now? It's a loop. If I connected the switch, something like this, it will create a loop. Correct? You can see this is how we are created both the link for redundance, because I want to create a redundancy. If any cable got failed or any port got failed, the other cable should be there, so your network should not stop. But if I connect something like this, then it will create a looping technique. This is the loop it's created. It keep sending the information to each other. Now, if I would like to avoid such loops, I'm using the protocol called as spanning tree protocol. It is called as STP. Correct? Now, this spanning tree protocol do have a specific algorithm.
Hey viewers, are you looking for formal training on SRE practices? Take our SRE program. This course will teach you how to successfully implement site reliability engineering in the modern day 24/7 services. Kickstart your SRE training today. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
That will help you to stop this particular looping. Correct? From Monday, we will be saying STP in depth. Currently, you just need to understand, if I want to connect redundancy connection between the switches, there is a chance that we are supposed to get a problem of loopings in case of some broadcasting traffic. And if I would like to avoid that particular looping in switch, there is a protocol called as spanning tree protocol, which will help us to avoid that particular looping to be happen. Correct? So spanning tree protocol, it's a protocol which is a layer 2. Why? Because it is implemented on the switch. Correct? It is a data link protocol which will help you to understand this. Now this is, they are giving you the idea how spanning tree protocol actually work. Correct? Now don't worry about that. There is a process called as root bridge. Okay, there is a traffic called as BPDU traffic. Don't worry about that. We will cover this particular chapter in detail on Monday when we are starting switching. Correct? But currently understand what is a STP. It is a spanning tree protocol to avoid the loops which is happen on the top of the switch in certain condition, something like this. Correct? So understand STP is a layer 2 protocol which will help you in order to stop the looping technique. We will see what is a technique behind that, why that looping is stopped, and what are the processes which we can do it. Correct? Okay. Okay, MAC address table. Correct. Now, what is a MAC address table? Now you can see on your local machine also, you do have the list of the MAC address available. Correct? Now, MAC address table, it's once again mandatory thing for layer 2 switches. Correct? This MAC address table help us in order to connect all your devices registered with layer 2 switches. Correct? We already seen that MAC address table, it's a in-memory table running on the top of the switches. Any given point of a time, if switch want to transmit a data from one node to another node, switch always refer this MAC address table in order to find out whether that device is connected to my switch. If it is connected to my switch, on which physical port it is connected to. Correct? So understand, this is very important aspect. Packet switch network and circuit switch network. Now these are the two type of networks are available. Correct? Now these are two WAN technologies are there. Correct? Now this is something which we talked about, internet connectivity. Correct? Now when we talked about internet connectivity, either I'm connected with the broadband or either I could connect with any kind of a telephone network, or sometime it could be a network which is handled by your telephone company. Correct? Now if my network is handled by any kind of telephone company, then I will say it is a circuit switching network. Correct? You can see this is the diagram. Now we are not using circuit switching network at all, because this technique was there when we were using a dial-up modem. Correct? But they are giving you the information about circuit switching technique. In circuit switching, whatever data which you are sending over the internet, whatever data which you are receiving from the internet, all the data is coming from the telephone lines, because you are using a normal dial-up modem. Now that time, the data transmission which is happening over the internet and coming from the internet, it would be done by the telephone network. It is not another network. It is a normal default telephone network which you are using, and that particular technique, it is called as circuit switching. Circuit switching is a technique which we were using for the dial-up modem long time ago to transfer the data with the help of existing telephone network. Correct? It will find out the circuit path actually. Normally, if you want to get connected in a circuit switching, he will find out a defined path for which he can transfer your data from one location to another location. But nowadays, we are not using this technique because we are not using the existing telephone network at all. We are using this technique called as packet switching technique. Now, every internet service provider who is providing the complete broadband and internet service to you, they are not using circuit switching networks anymore. They do have their own network which is called as packet switching networks. Now this network help you to send the data with a dedicated network, and these networks are managed and maintained by your ISPs. Every ISP do have their different type of networks which they can help us to transfer the data, correct? Now understand, in packet switching technique, many of their ISP, they do have multiple routers, ISP router, ISP switches, and many other things actually, and they are interconnected with each other, correct? So you have to make sure that in packet switching, your packet would be transferred to the ISP network, and from the ISP network, that packet would be going from one network to another network with the help of routing methodology, correct? Don't worry about this currently. Just remember that packet switching is the latest, not you can say latest, but it is the technique which normally people are using to provide you the internet connectivity, correct? Circuit switching we are not using anymore, because we are not using any dial-up connection at all. We are not using any internet telephone connection or telephone network in order to share the data, correct? Now there is one more technique is called as distributed technique, correct? Now this is something which we are not using for majority in ISP large network. But if you have a very small network, and if you would like to distribute your connection, you can use the method called as switching, correct? You have to have a specific switch connected who can help you to transfer the data through the centralized device, and it will help you to manage that. Nowadays we do have a very different same kind of a technique is available. We can call it as MPLS. Remember that this technique is very faster. MPLS, okay, this technique help you to distribute, okay, multiple protocol level switching. This is actually help you to distribute your internet connection like a switch, correct? This is the current technique which we are using for internet providers. This is very fast. People say you are supposed to get 100 Mbps, 50 Mbps. How it is possible over the internet? Now this is possible because they are using MPLS service in order to make the connectivity. It is the same technique they are talking about in a distributed switching, correct? But distributed switching is a technique is centrally connect a switch, manage all the devices through that centralized things, make sure that everything should be distributed from that particular switch. Now this particular technique we would be introduced in our local area connection, but same technique it is available for the internet connectivity as well. We can call it as MPLS network nowadays. That's fine. Okay. Comparison with circuit switching and packet switching. Now packet switching does have, you can see the packet switching is something which is a broadband connection, which is very high speed connection. ISP do have their own routers, own devices which we can use in order to send the packet from one location to another location. In a circuit switching, we are using a modem which is very slow. We are using actually a existing telephone connection, and we are using a circuit path in order to send the data from one location to another location. This is what exactly we are going to talk about. Correct? Now, this is a very important process. It's called as routing. Now, what is routing? Now, look at the definition. The process of selecting best route for moving the packet from its source to its destination on the network. Now this process would be considered as a routing.
Thanks for watching. Want to study further? Join our training programs today.